Hi, wild ones, welcome back. I am working on the painting, finishing up the painting. So in this last section of work, I'm going to work really hard to build depth and perception, but I'm going to try really hard to work with a hand that is not very, I'm going to try to keep what I've got because I'm actually really, as I pull it back, I always do that with my small works especially, pull it back and see where you have struggles, where your eye goes. My eye really does land right in there. And I think this part could become a part that's really powerful. I am loving the textures of the feathers, and for me, that is the part that this painting's all about. This part's really cool and interesting, but definitely not the star. So now I'm just thinking about, where do I want my focus to be? What am I interested in accomplishing? How am I going to meld all these layers together to make one cohesive piece? And I am going to go back to that sheet of questions. And do I need to lead? Are there too many shapes or too few shapes? Do I need to lead the eye into the painting? Do the edges have variety and are interesting? I'm a little worried about my edges right now because I kind of have this bird, then there's this darker part, then there's this lighter part, and all of them are almost the same. This line is pretty much the same. And then this line, I guess this part's a little different than down here. So I'd say 1, 2, maybe 3, and then 1, 2. So I need to do some work on pulling in some probably darker darks. I was staying really high key for a lot of it, not super high key. I was staying pretty medium key. So I need to work on adding some really light lights besides just this white and some really dark darks. So I'm going to limit my palette to just those two edges, no center color. I have plenty of center color. Is there color dominance? I think the purple really sings out, even though it's in that field of warm browns and oranges. It's interesting because the purple is so much more, it feels heavier to me than this. I don't have great negative shapes right now, and that's what I'm probably going to need to work on. And it's funny because it's a mostly warm painting. Even that purple's a little bit warmer, especially adding the green into there made it a tiny bit warmer. Are there quiet areas? Not really. I need to work on that. And then are there bullseyes? The white right now is a bullseye to me. Wipes that are popping out and distracting. That's a little distracting right now. So I need to add some color to it. And then the entire surface. Is this an entire surface of a part of a design? I do believe it's hanging together as one design. Have I done everything possible to express the one thing I set to express? I think it's getting there. I still think this is about motherhood and about parenthood and about how incredible eagles are at parenting. So that's where I'm at right now. And I'm gonna put it heads down and work through the last part of the painting with you. Put my palette together. It's just red, yellow, blue, black, and I did 2 squishes of white because I definitely want to keep it light. And pretty much everything's gonna get mixed. So if we want to see that, maybe I can squish over. The other things I have here are some Lyra colors, which for finishing, these are a watercolor, so they will move around if I go in. I'm just going to throw some, I did this to outline the original pieces. So I'm gonna go in and just throw some more darks in, and I'm gonna do it in a more scribbly way. I kind of think of this like a graffiti look, especially to change tone. It will help us. And if we want to go through and like really see some of the sticks, you could go in and like really scratch around them. Now I've got some of that texture here. I'm going to go in and just wet a brush and show you kind of how that melts away. I find it's a really neat way to just add some quick texture. And the nice part is once you have it on your brush, you can definitely move it around to show you how that will really make that one stick pop out. So I use this tool as one of the tools in my backpack. My big old dog just came up here. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. How are you? How are you, Dobbs? So if you can hear that breathing, he just got back from a walk. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna go in and put a shadow in pink under the eagle's wings onto the egg, and I just like to use my finger to kind of blend it out. If I don't want quite that much on that second egg, I'm just gonna go in and pat it out, and I might use a secondary color so it's not just pink right there, but I want to take this same pink highlight color and throw some highlights into, maybe into this wing, and see if I can get just some of the changes of color. I'm not sure I like that. I might like it in a minute. Coming on this side. I don't know if I like that. So if I want to pull it out completely, that's a little hard. But before it dries too dry, I can go in and just add some water and rub it out. The other way to do that is to spray alcohol, but that's a little bit more invasive. So maybe instead of that really outlining, just like adding a little highlight. Is that better? Maybe if I do it in a couple other spots. Ooh, I might like this better. So it's kind of like auditioning. When you're working with acrylic, you can shift it pretty easily. I showed you the shifting this piece out because it's darker. Let's go over here and just paint over one whole stick with a lighter wash, and I will blend this out, but Just find the stick, all the parts of it. I think I have enough paint on this brush. So if I left it just like that, obviously it'd be really standouty on texture. Even when it dries, it would still stand out. But if I go back in and I kind of give it some pats, I still have shifted the temperature of it, and as it dries, you'll see some of the other layers will come back out. But that's a way to shift temperature, to shift value. I'm gonna grab some blue and white, and I haven't cleaned my brush. The pink is still on there. But I'm gonna go in and put a little color, and it's gonna be a bright kind of white blue, kind of to separate these feet. And birds kind of have a like texture up their feet that's kind of fun. I often call this like the touch and go. It's like outlining but not quite outlining. I want to use some of that blue in other parts. I might throw some of it because I feel like there's good shadow here, but there's maybe not enough bright light near it too. Kind of nice because they're kind of like arrows in. Might want to just touch a little bit of this blue into this underpainting too. I'm going to hit this corner pretty hard to pull that corner kind of to complement over here. That touches some of that purpley blue all over the canvas, so it's not just the bird, but you're really going more on the eggs now. Now, if I want to lean harder into that purple, I'm just going to mix a little bit of purple. just too heavy. Okay, I think I'm done fiddling. I will set this aside in the studio for a bit and just leave it to simmer. Some of these scratchy Lyra crayons I will blend out, and some I will just leave as is. I tend to like to just go in and do a little scrubby color. Sometimes I use some colored pencils if the mood strikes me, but more often than not, I prefer the crayons. I was thinking I might use this pink in here, but it doesn't really show. I don't think this one is either. No, definitely not. So I just need to stop messing with it. I think this is like 95% of the way there, and I just need to go in with a really light hand every so often and maybe melt some of this out and build maybe a little bit less texture in areas. You might have seen me go in and kind of wipe a kind of dusky color over everything just to try to pull this back and really push this out. I'm not sure I'm there yet, but I'm working on it. I'm liking where it is right now, and I'm gonna leave it alone so I don't kill it, because I find in my own self when I start really like pushing, and maybe even pushing a little too much on a piece, I kind of get this like, oh, I should just put white over the whole thing, or I was like, I should just paint this whole nest gray. When that thought comes, I try to stop, because that usually means I'm right about ready to kill it. And I want to leave some of the life in it. So I stop and I take a picture of it. I actually paused the video, took a picture of it, and put it into black and white on my filters just to see where I was having less energy. Definitely over here is less energy than over here. The darks and the lights, but I think that's okay. I have to just kind of take a pause, hold a breath, and come back to it. But here's where we are. This is where we're gonna leave this series for now. And I will try to post on Instagram when I finish this piece. But I hope that you've enjoyed the painting process, from planning all the way through to completion. And I'm pretty sure this is close. So hope you enjoyed it, and keep creating wild ones, and happy painting.